Welcome back to another episode of Manny Things. I'm your host Manny. Thank you for checking out the video. Today we're having a product review, and a very good product review of a very great product, and that is the Harry's Holster Contender line. First off, I want to preface this in this video. I did not pay for this holster. This holster was sent to me for free from Harry of Harry's Holsters. He's like, hey, I want to send you out a holster. Just tell me what you think about it. I'm like, all right, cool. Gave him my address. Showed up in a week. This holster is a kydex holster, single layered. Like most tactical outside the waistband holsters, this thing is set up for competition, range plinking, duty belts. This thing is a phenomenal holster. It does not have any level 2 retention, just a level 1 fit retention of the holster. His website, you can also order these turbo props from Henry's Holsters, but he sells them on his site, and the turbo drop website as well in the brushed look, not the black. You can get the black anodized from Henry's Holsters though. That's where I got this. I've had this. The holster and the prop were from Harry. I have used the turbo props before with another holster, which I will show within this video, because it's not a review if we don't compare it to a couple things. So we'll talk about that. So I'm not going to bore you with specs on this holster. This holster line covers the Glock's 9mm all the way up to a 34, down to maybe, I think a 26 will go in here. I don't know why you'd want to, but if you had a couple Glocks and you want to just have a range holster, this would be perfect. This holster sets up to the UBL system for some Safari land. Many things like the Blade Tech drop or the Ben Steger Pro Shop Boss holster hanger along with this. There's a bunch of different mounting solutions for this, so just check the website. There's paddles you can buy from him as well. So I do all kind of holster with hanging attachments. So holster, I have used it in dry fire and matches and practice. It's a phenomenal holster. Doesn't have any issues so far that I can tell. No cracking, no hitching or binding. It's smooth, it's rigid. It's more rigid than the other single-walled kydex holster that I had in the past, which made me want to get away from single-walled kydex holsters for competition. Not going to name any names, but that holster, when I drew, it would flex too much. When on the move, it would get bound up. The holster would twist, and I would be bound up, and I couldn't get a good draw. And that's not a thing I like. So I even switched to a dual-walled holster, which I'll show here. Those holsters were both good. They're not as refined as the Harry's Holsters Contender line. That holster is very phenomenal. It's very stylish. It's very unique. It has been well thought out and designed. It's a very good holster. So let's grab these other two holsters so I can compare them to the Contender. You can see you've got the Contender right here on my belt compared to this holster right here, which was the first holster I started out with in competition. This is called the Osiris. I'm not going to name the maker though, because I don't feel that is important. It's called the Osiris. They look somewhat similar. The Harry's Holsters is a lot smoother on the edges than this. It's not that it's rough on the edges. It's still very good. But no complaints. This didn't have any issues. The only issues I had with this holster is that the spacers provided in the screws with the turbo props from when I had bought the turbo prop separately, and the spacers couldn't quite accommodate these to get a nice retention pinch, so I actually had to go buy different screws. But that's not on the holster maker's fault or the turbo prop's fault. So it was just they used different hardware, which was no big deal. So holster is nice though. This is a nice firm holster. Is closed topped, so you can't run a comp out of this one like you can with the Contender, because I think that was designed for comps and whatnot and longer guns. But this is not a bad holster. It just didn't do what I needed it to do. It flexed a little bit too much, as you can see here, a little too much flex compared to the Harry's Holsters that doesn't really flex at all. Like, you know, I can push this side in, but this won't come in. But this is sitting on a tech lock. This is a spare holster I have now. And the second holster that I bought to replace the first one, the Osiris, I bought was this Red Hill Tactical. Tim Herron uses these, and I wanted to try them out. like a lot of other competition shooters, Red Hill Tactical is kind of a go-to standard in the production, single stack, and carry optics divisions. So there was this holster. I like green and gray. Sue me if you don't like it. I don't care. This is a green and gray dual kydex holster for a Glock 34. Just because if I want to switch to a 34, I had no issues doing so. So there was that 34 Gen 5. Nice deep. Both have the same amount of opening for the optic, which is quite nice. But like I said, this is dual wall. This is going to be very, very thick and rigid. A little, I would say not too rigid, but rigid enough. This still super rigid, but gives a little bit more flex than the Red Hill Tactical. And I had one issue with this Red Hill Tactical. I didn't get a very good positive click. It was more I had to push the gun down into it, and the screws aren't even tight really. They're not super tight on the adjustable retention on the Red Hill Tactical. So this was a nice holster, but I was really glad to see this holster. Its retention's dialed in super easy, holds it just enough, and then when I need to pop it out, it pops right out. So actually, very good both very good holsters. Just this is a little thick, and I want to try this one out. So this holster it's kind of the Contender is like the best of both worlds. It's thin enough yet rigid enough. So it's thin like a single wall kydex holster, but it's also thick enough and rigid enough to do what you need to do, be able to rack off it and get that quick, fast, smooth draw you want and not have any issues with it. So there's that about the Contender. My 17, it is empty. I'm going to depress the trigger. This is a safe direction. We're just going to put the gun in all three of these holsters. So it goes in. I'll be fair. Let me tighten this down a little bit. Yep, it holds it. I'm not really holding on to the holster. My hand is underneath my gun because this is a concrete floor. I'm not dropping my gun on a concrete floor. So this holds it nice. Like I said, it flexes a little too much for my liking. Yes, it's not on a belt to give it more rigidity, but it moves just a little bit too much. Still a great holster though. We'll move on to this Red Hill Tactical. Like I said, you really had to. I finally got that clicked, but I never felt like it went down in far enough either. And there's a little bit of, but this is going to happen when you mold kydex form it over like blue guns and stuff, is that it's not going to be perfect 100%, and it feels like the holster's a little warped, but it does do a very nice job. It holds the gun very well, and then I always felt that it kind of rubbed on the gun. So no big deal. Still a great holster, but didn't have that nice give. We put the Glock in the Contender. Nice and rigid. Holds it until the last possible second to get it out. Have a smooth, clean draw. Nice holster. As you can see, heel of the butt of the gun is above the top of the belt, so we've got no issues there for legality rules of using the holster. Holster is very nice, very stylish, like I've said before. Harry's big in aesthetics, and I agree with being aesthetically pleasing, because if your holster does not look good, you're not going to sell it. So there's that, guys. It's a really nice fit. The Contender is made for the P320 line that fits up to the Legion, Glocks up to the 34 size. The holster so far has had no issues for me. Like I said, I've gone through 3 or 4 matches now, countless hours of dry fire. Great holster. I'm not going to complain about it at all. I'm really looking forward to more holsters that Harry's going to bring out in the future. I don't know. I'd be more than willing to check out his holsters because he is a good friend and he makes excellent products and he puts the time behind his products. I knew I was beating him up last year when he said Black Friday last year this was going to come out, but I can understand completely about having the quality you want and holding yourself to a very high standard. And Harry's holsters are a very high standard of quality. I'm not, and for the price point is beautiful. Harry makes fantastic products is what I'm going to end this with. So please go check out harrysholsters.com. Links will be in the description below. I don't know, there might be a code, might not. If not, I might use my buddy work code down below. So until next time, guys, check out Harry's Holsters and get out and do the things. Catch you next time.